In today's video, you are going to learn the biggest pros and the biggest cons about being a foreigner living in Norway. I have lived in Norway for 6 years, and I will say that I do know some big pros and some big cons. I'm going to save the biggest con from my perspective for last, so make sure you watch the whole video if you are considering living in Norway or if you're just being curious. Okay, that being said, let's just dive into this. For those of you guys who are new to my channel, hi, my name is Sara and I moved to Norway 6 years ago. I've posted a lot of videos about living in Norway, settling in Norway, the ups and downs. So if you are curious about this journey, make sure to subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more videos. That being said, let's dive into the first pro about living in Norway as a foreigner. So right now I'm just casually walking around in my neighborhood. So if you're lucky, you can catch a fish jumping here behind me. It's a really beautiful lake running by here. But anyways, so the first pro that I think is a really big pro about living in Norway is that the culture here is very chill, very no stress, and very low key. And what exactly do I mean by that? Well, I mean that if you were to measure the average walking speed in Norway, I'm almost 90% sure that that would be very much lower than the average walking speed in Japan, because I just feel like the whole vibe here is way more chill than it is in other countries. Another example is that my uncle said he is a big, he works at a very big company in Copenhagen, and he said to me the last time that I was home, he said, "Sara, how are you doing? Oh my God, you seem so chill. I was at a business meeting last week, and this Norwegian guy, he also just seemed so chill." And I was just like, yeah, we are chill in Norway. It's like, it's so peaceful, it's so quiet. I know it sounds weird that a whole culture can be like laid back and chill, but I just feel that that's how it is. So take it or leave it. Let me also just say real quick that these pros and cons are of course my point of view. They're human generated, they're not AI. I haven't Googled anything, I haven't asked a robot. These are coming straight from my heart, so just letting you know that. Another big pro that I see living here in Norway is that people are very nice, they're very respectful, and a great example of that is if you compare a big music program called X Factor that is going in Denmark. If you compare that to a very big music program, The Voice in Norway, these two TV programs are or TV shows are very different. X Factor in Denmark, there is just it's so weird because it's like the only thing that they want is to make fun of people. So people are coming there, they're putting their heart out, and then they're just making fun of the person standing there ripping their heart out. They're basically just and if you watch The Voice in Norway, that's just, I mean, I've never seen an episode where they have said anything rude to the person singing up on stage. And of course that's how it should be. Like, why do you have to be rude to people standing there putting their heart on a silver plate and then they're just like whack, you know? Yeah, so that, I mean, and that also goes like in the humor, in the politics. I just feel like people in Norway are in general, of course you have the exception to the rule, but in general people here are way more nice and respectful than, I'd say, I don't know about other countries, but at least in Denmark I feel like that's how it is. And X Factor and the TV show there is a very great example of that. The third big pro that I'm going to mention is, of course, look at this, the beautiful nature, but not that itself. it is actually all of the fun activities that is in Norway. Like at winter times, you have snowmobile, you go skiing, you go on a cabin. You know, there's so many fun activities because of this stunning nature. And at summer, you can go windsurfing. You can that in Denmark too, but there are so many fun activities at summer times, like hiking, kayaking. They have these huge rivers, so you can go river rafting, climbing, you know, juving, where you like ride on the mountains like it was a what's the word? Yeah, this. And it's just because of that, people are also very much open to doing stuff all the time. So that is totally a very big pro if you ask me about living in Norway. Another big pro, and the last one that I'm going to mention in this video, living in Norway, is that it is a very good democratic country. People are voting, people are being legit, people actually care, the politicians, and it's not corrupt. So yeah, that's just a huge plus if you ask me. And the welfare system, of course, it's a rich country, you get paid well, and that whole like that part of Norway is very good. It's just good. So that was the last pro that I'm going to mention. Okay, now let's talk about the cons about living in Norway. And this part is probably where people are going to butcher me in the comment section and be mad about what I say now, but once again, it's from my perspective and can't help it. So, but I do speak to a lot of other foreigners. I do have clients from all over the world, so it's not just coming from me. I know that there are a lot of people sharing these point of views. So the first con that I'm going to mention about living in Norway is that if you don't speak Norwegian, that is going to be a very big obstacle for you when you apply for jobs. It's just the fact that if you speak Norwegian, and a lot of the job ads that are out there, they want you to speak Norwegian. So a lot of foreigners here in Norway, they struggle with getting a job because they are not learning the language. But of course, if you learn the language, it's you can get a job, but if you don't, it's going to be very hard for you. And not just getting a job, but also to just in general integrate here in Norway and get friends. And I think it's pretty natural and common all over the world that if you don't speak the language, it's going to be hard for you. Some countries are more international than others, and Norway is probably not one of them. You have to learn the language if you want a good job here in Norway. That's just how it is. Another big con about living in Norway as a foreigner is probably how it is no matter where you move to. But if you are moving to Norway and you choose to start a family here, it can be very lonely and hard if you, like I said, do not speak the language and you are very far away from your family. So just being far away from your family can be very lonely in Norway. And why more in Norway than other countries? Well, maybe because the winters are very long. So it's not like it's not that easy to get out, and I mean, the activities at summer times are much better than at winter times because you can be outside. Yeah, and there are a lot of reasons for that. But long winters can be hard just sitting alone in your little house. The snow is just all around you, and yeah, people are mostly inside. So that can be very tough being far away from your family. I had 2 kids myself here, and it's been tough. It has been very lonely at times to be so far away from your family, and that's just a big con. And speaking about the weather, that actually leads me to the next con. From my point of view, once again, my point of view, the weather is a con because winters are very long. Snow last year came in October, and then it doesn't go away until like April. So that is a very long time to walk around and be cold, like get up in the morning, you're cold. You know, you can't just put up the heat because that's expensive, so it's cold. It is just cold. And like, it's fun to go skiing, it's fun to go outside on a snowmobile, but not for like 7 months. So if you ask me, it's a big con that the winters are long, and that kind of overlap where it's just rainy and there's slush, you know, all over, and it's just like gray. Yeah, it's not that fun to be here, to just be completely honest with you. So the weather being very cold and windy at times can be very frustrating, not to mention last year that I could not get out of the house because there was so much snow, and it's chaos on the roads when it's a lot of snow. And yeah, so just kind of painting a picture of you, for you, what the weather is like. However, they are very good at actually handling this bad weather. They do have the system built for it. So even though that we live far out on the country, these huge snow trucks that are like, yeah, you know, they are coming out there immediately, and they are there when there's a lot of snow. But yeah, when we speaking about the weather, so this year when it was New Year's Eve, we couldn't get to our big social gathering dinner because there was such a huge snowstorm. Well, we ended up actually going, but we shouldn't have gone because it was chaos at the roads, and it was not safe to drive in that type of weather. So that's what I mean with the weather being a con as well, because it does put some limitations to what you can do when it's like a big snowstorm. You don't go outside because it's not safe. And that's also what I mean with it being a con, being far away from your family, because when it's bad weather, you can't just go visit your family. So I live in Denmark, and I am very dependent on the ferry going, and there's been so many cancellations this past year. I don't know if it's the climate just going crazy, and my family, they have mentioned it to me that every and each time for the last year that I was supposed to go home, there's been cancellations, and I have been like, oh my god, I can't go because it's bad weather, and you know. So yeah, just wanted to mention that as well. Okay guys, saving the biggest con for last. From my perspective, the biggest con about living in Norway is that people here are not that open, and it is, if you are a very like freak out person who likes to dance, who likes to just say hi, what's up to a random person and speak to random people all the time, that is a big con, because you feel like nobody wants to talk to you if you come to Norway. Norway just has a do not disturb me culture, and I don't know if it's worse here than in Denmark. I actually think that it is. I feel like people in Denmark are more open, and that also goes along with what I said about people in Denmark being less respectful. Like, people in Denmark are in general more open to actually saying their opinion, how they feel, and what they mean. And when it comes to, like, say, conflicts at work or in your private life or with your friends, it can be a problem that people are not open about how they feel. It can be. So, and I have very close friends here. One is from Colombia, one is from Italy, one is from Austria, and they say the same thing actually. And the fact that people here are not that open is to me a con, because it's just not fun. I want to be able to just freak out. I want to be able to, you know, dance on the table without people being like, oh my god, she is the biggest freak. Or maybe they don't think that, but they just don't say it. So the fact that people here are not as open as I'm used to has been just sad. But once again, you know, you just have to go on with the flow. Like what I said about being respectful is, you know, the pro about that. Because when people are too open, it gets disrespectful. So, you know, there are pros and cons about everything. But yeah, the con about this is that I like being open to people, like speaking to, I'm very social, you know, all of that. So yeah, just letting you know that, but if you are a very introvert person, you know, Norway is perfect for you. Go there, live your life. I would definitely recommend that. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I highly appreciate it. And if you stayed until the end, thank you so much, and give it a like if you think it was good content. That would really help me out. If you are a foreigner who is going to Norway or who lives here already, but you are kind of not really you're not really thriving here, please go to norwaynewcomers.com and see how I can help you like really settle and thrive here, because I know it can be so tough, and that's why I want to help people who does not thrive yet in Norway. That can be because of your job, it can be because of your friends, or because you just have some things that you struggle with. So make sure to go to my website and let me know if you want my help. That being said, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!